Do you want to use an Xbox 360 pad on PlayStation 4? Well, now you can. Hi, how you doing? Welcome. This is the DualShock 4 and it's a massive improvement over the DualShock 3. It's bigger, more comfortable, has a touchpad and built-in speaker that really enhances the experience in games like GTA 5 and Transistor. But you know what? When gaming over an extended period of time, I prefer to use a different controller, the Xbox 360 controller. It is perhaps one of the most comfortable controllers of recent generations. So I was happy to discover that there is a bit of hardware that allows you to use an Xbox 360 controller on the PS4, or the Xbox Elite controller, or a DualShock 3, or a Wii Remote, or Wii U Pro controller, or a random arcade pad, or steering wheel, as well as a mouse and keyboard for precise FPS control. It also works with other consoles, so you can play Halo 5 on an Xbox One using a DualShock 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation TV, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Windows PC. Although you have to visit their website for details on what limitations they have. Some controllers can only be used wired, but I will be looking at how it works on PS4. Now, whilst the whole process is relatively straightforward, because the instructions are not user-friendly, I was having to read up on what to do, so it probably took me about an hour to get it all working. Hopefully this video explains the setup process, so if you use one, you can be up and running a lot quicker. So what does the CronusMax do? CronusMax software and hardware is used to customize button inputs. This gives you two main features. Firstly, it allows you to use non-standard gamepads, controllers, or a mouse and keyboard with your console. Secondly, the programmable macros allow you to modify in-game moves. You can have one button press perform a sequence of instructions, such as a special move in a fighting game, or rapid fire sniper shots, auto run, fast reload, and more. The programming language features an apparently easy to learn C-style syntax. Alternatively, if you're like me and you have no interest in programming, then there are a selection of ready-made game packs for you to download. You just choose the one that's appropriate for you. These can be used to cheat in games, and some competitive esports leagues won't allow use of the CronusMax, although it does have a safe mode which some organisations may allow. The other great feature is that it may be beneficial to people with disabilities. The example the company give is of a person who has difficulty pushing forward on an analog stick and pushing down on it at the same time, commonly used with moving forward and running. A macro can be used to set an easier input method to do this, so some gamers might be able to play titles that there was no way they could play them before. Controller customization via programmable macros, so you can have extra features. These macros and button scheme changes are available via free downloadable game packs. You can get packs for specific games such as Call of Duty or for specific controllers that are downloaded via the software. Up to 9 of these can be saved onto the CronusMax Plus, and you can add and delete as and when you want. Before you get started, there are some things that you need. The CronusMax Plus, which retails for roughly £45, $60 or €64. A 4-port USB hub, an Xbox 360 wireless gaming receiver. The one I used is unofficial, not made by Microsoft. An Xbox 360 wireless controller, and a Windows PC to run the software, as it doesn't work on Mac OS X, which is a real pain to Mac owners and a bit short-sighted. You need a free piece of software called Cronus Pro, and perhaps Microsoft USB View. Cronus Pro is the software used for configuring and updating the CronusMax. Go to cronusmax.com and download it. It's a zip file. Launch it. Click Next. Click Next. Click Install. Then launch the software. So the first thing you have to do is update the software to the latest version. Go to the Tools menu, select Cronus Update. My software has already been updated, but if yours hasn't, then go right ahead and update. Software setup. If you're using a CronusMax with a 360 controller wirelessly, then follow these settings. You can even choose to do what Sony don't let you, permanently dim the light bar. Firmware. Next, you have to update the firmware on the actual CronusMax hardware. So use the supplied cable, plug one side into the PC prog port, and plug the other end into the USB port of your PC. Now, in the Cronus Pro software, go to the Tools menu and select Firmware Update. My one already has the most up-to-date firmware, but if yours hasn't, select Next and then Finish to update. Now both software and hardware are up to date. Pairing the 360 controller with the 360 receiver. This basically means getting them to communicate with each other so you can use the 360 pad without the need for a cable. Connect the CronusMax to the PC via the PC Prog mini USB port. Connect the 360 receiver to the input port of the CronusMax. On the 360 controller, press the Xbox button. On the 360 receiver, press the Connect button. On the 360 controller, press the Connect button. The Xbox guide button should rotate and then should settle in the controller 1 position. USB hub. When using a non-standard controller in the PS4, it is essential to keep the DualShock 4 connected at all times via a USB hub. This is because Sony have a procedure in place where the PS4 requires the controller to authenticate itself every 8 to 10 minutes. DualShock 4s and officially licensed controllers can do this, but any other pad can't, which ordinarily means using a different pad such as the 360 pad won't work. However, by keeping the DualShock 4 plugged in, the CronusMax allows it to respond to the PS4's authentication request, which means you can use a different pad without fear of the PS4 blocking it. Clever. The DS4 has to be connected to port 4 of the USB hub. The Xbox receiver has to be connected to port 1 of the USB hub. You can experiment by connecting each into the two ports furthest away from each other. If it doesn't work the first time, swap them and try again. If you want to precisely know which port is which, you can use a free piece of software and it will tell you. Download USB View by Microsoft. Run usbview.exe. A screen will open that lists the connections to your USB hub. It may seem overly complicated, but don't let this worry you. Mine appears to show the set of 4 hubs, and I can't explain to you what they all mean, but it doesn't matter. All you have to do is plug in a USB device into one of the ports of your hub. Once you do, you will see the USB View app that one of the port numbers says device connected. In this example, this means that port 124 is port 4. You can then try it in the other port. Remember, you want to know what is port 1 and port 4 of your USB hub. Now that it's done, it's time to connect everything together. Plug the USB hub into the USB import port of the CronusMax. Using a full data micro USB cable, connect your DualShock 4 to port 4 of the USB hub. Now plug the 360 receiver into port 1 of the USB hub. Here is what it all looks like together. Plug the CronusMax into a USB port of your PS4. Press the PlayStation button on your DualShock 4 to turn on the PS4. Press the Xbox guide button on your 360 pad. You should now be able to navigate your PS4 using the Xbox controller. The Xbox button works as if it's the PlayStation button, taking you into and out of the OS. The Start button works as if it's the DS4 options button. The back button works as if it's the share button. It doesn't take a genius to realise that the DualShock 4 has a button that the Xbox controller doesn't, the touchpad. This could pose a serious problem as the touchpad is used in many games. However, it's not a problem as you can download customizable game packs to help you with this. So for Fallout 4, where the touchpad is just a single button press, I use a game pack that turns the 360 back button into the touchpad. If I want to use the share button, I just hold back and press the right stick. For games that require you to use the full area of the touchpad, you can use a game pack that allows you to use the right stick to imitate the touch control. The CronusMax can store up to 9 game packs. You can switch between each one. You can easily search for game packs, which each have customizable functions which you can save on the CronusMax. So launch the CronusMax software and you'll immediately see a library of different game packs. Hit the categories button to filter this down. Each pack has information explaining what it does. Some are specific to games, some are more general button remapping. When you find one you want to use, click download. Then save it so you can transfer to the CronusMax. To transfer game packs to your CronusMax, connect your CronusMax via the PC prog port to the USB port of your PC. Select the Programmer tab. The CronusMax can store up to 9 game packs. To transfer a game pack, select it and drag it into one of the 9 free slots. Then hit Program Device, then OK. To use a game pack. When using the CronusMax whilst plugged into your PS4, you can switch between the different game packs that you have installed. To use a game pack, press the memory slot button to switch to a game pack that you have stored. If you have a Call of Duty Zombie game pack installed on slot 5, press the memory slot button until 5 shows on the LED display. So the CronusMax has a number of features that allow you to gain boost and cheat in games which may be helpful to you if you play competitively online. I never use them so I can't comment. But it could also be used to help you get past an area in a single player game, an area which you're stuck in, and it might be helpful to some gamers who have disabilities. I only happened to learn about the CronusMax because I was looking for a third-party controller that might be more comfortable to hold than the DS4. But these third-party controllers at the moment all have limitations. Either they are wired only, or have no force feedback, or have no touchpad at all, or no headset compatibility. But I bought the CronusMax for one reason only, which is to use the Xbox 360 pad on the PS4. For games that have audio coming out of the DS4, you obviously wouldn't be able to have that on a 360 pad. I certainly wouldn't want to give up the outputted audio from GTA 5. However, for games that don't take advantage of the DS4 benefits, I found it a real advantage to use the 360 pad. It's very comfortable, and using it via the Cronus, there is no noticeable lag at all, and it works. It truly works. Now, do bear in mind you will not be able to use a voice chat headset or headphones with the 360 pad, or any other console you use a Cronus with, although any non-controller connected headphones should work as normal. Because other controllers don't have a touchpad, using an analog stick to imitate touch movement might take getting used to, but overall the game pack options work well. What's so good is that you also have force feedback, and if you have a library of PS3 games, then using the 360 controller or DualShock 4 is a much more comfortable way to play them than with using a cheap third-party pad. The CronusMax does what it says on the tin. It allows you to use your favourite controller with your favourite console, and that's a big win. Thank you for watching. Press subscribe so you don't miss out on further updates. And do share this video with your friends. Bless you for watching.